There is a certain kind of person who wakes up on their birthday, looks at the date, and feels nothing dramatic. No excitement, no countdown, no grand expectations. They get up, brush their teeth, go to work, reply to messages politely, and move through the day as if it were any other square on the calendar. When someone says, "Happy birthday," they smile gently and say, "Thank you." But inside, the day feels strangely ordinary. This is not because they are ungrateful. It is not because they are cold. And it is certainly not because they do not understand what birthdays are supposed to represent. Psychologically, a birthday is symbolic. It is a marker of existence. It says, you arrived. You matter. You survived another year. For many people, it becomes a celebration of identity. But for others, birthdays are complicated. Imagine a child who grew up in a home where emotions were not expressed openly. Maybe celebrations were small. Maybe they were forgotten. Maybe attention came with pressure. Do not ask for too much. Do not make a scene. Be mature. Over time, that child learns something subtle but powerful. Do not expect special treatment. Do not center yourself. Do not need too much. Years later, that child becomes an adult who treats their birthday like a normal day. When attention feels unfamiliar, it can feel unsafe. When celebration feels undeserved, it can feel uncomfortable. So the mind protects itself by lowering expectations. It is just another day, they say. And on the surface, it sounds simple. But underneath, it can be a survival strategy built long ago. Some people detach from their birthday because it reminds them of time passing, goals unfinished, relationships that changed, or versions of themselves they feel they did not become. Instead of joy, the day becomes a mirror. And not everyone feels ready to look at they minimize it. They neutralize it. They move through it quietly. The world may interpret this as indifference, but emotionally, it is often something deeper. Protection, humility, self-control, or even unresolved disappointment that a birthday is not just about cake and candles. It is about being seen. And for some people, being seen has never felt entirely safe. When someone treats their birthday like a normal day, there is often a psychological pattern beneath the behavior. The nervous system does not respond only to danger. It also responds to vulnerability. And celebration is a form of vulnerability. To be celebrated means to be noticed. To be noticed means to be evaluated. For someone who grew up with criticism, high expectations, or emotional inconsistency, evaluation does not feel warm. It feels risky. Consider a person who learned early that love was conditional. Praise came only with achievement. Attention came only with performance. Birthdays in such an environment can quietly become performance reviews. What have you accomplished this year? Are you where you should be? Are you successful enough yet? Over time, the mind begins to associate birthdays not with joy, but with pressure. What does the brain do? It reduces the emotional intensity. It reframes the day as ordinary. This is not laziness or negativity. It is regulation. If you expect nothing, you cannot be disappointed. If you keep it small, you cannot be overwhelmed. There is also another layer. Some individuals were taught to prioritize others before themselves. They became the responsible child, the caretaker, the peacemaker. Their value came from being useful, not from being celebrated. So when their own birthday arrives, focusing on themselves feels unnatural. It feels almost selfish. Emotional intelligence teaches us that behavior is often a symptom of history. A person who shrugs at their birthday may have spent years shrinking their needs. They may have learned that asking for attention leads to discomfort. They may even feel anxiety when multiple messages arrive, because attention feels intense. There is also grief hidden in some birthdays. Not everyone associates that date with happy memories. It can be tied to absence, family conflict, or reminders of people who are no longer present. So instead of amplifying the day, they soften it. Outsiders. It looks simple. They just do not care. But emotionally, the decision to treat a birthday like a normal day can be a deeply intelligent coping mechanism. It is the mind saying, let us keep this manageable. Birthdays are symbolic checkpoints. Society attaches meaning to certain ages. By 25, you should know your path. By 30, you should be stable. By 40, you should be accomplished. These invisible timelines create quiet pressure. For someone who feels behind, a birthday can feel less like a celebration and more like an audit. Imagine waking up and thinking, another year has passed. What have I done with it? That thought alone can overshadow any joy. Instead of gratitude, there is comparison. Instead of excitement, there is evaluation. Social media intensifies this experience. On birthdays, feeds fill with curated images of parties, gifts, and milestones. The comparison becomes automatic. They seem further ahead. They seem happier. Even if these assumptions are inaccurate, the emotional effect is real. Some people respond to this pressure by stepping away from the entire ritual. If the day triggers self-doubt, the simplest solution is to downgrade its importance. Treat it like Tuesday. Go to work. Avoid big plans. Keep it quiet. There is also fear of disappointment. Expectations amplify vulnerability. If you secretly hope that someone will plan something meaningful and they do not, the hurt feels sharper. So the safest option becomes having no expectations at all. This is emotional self-preservation. There are individuals who once looked forward to birthdays, but after repeated unmet hopes, they adjusted their emotional investment. Not because they stopped caring, but because caring without reciprocity is painful. Time itself can feel heavy. Aging is not just about numbers. It is about change, responsibility, and awareness of mortality. For some, each birthday is a reminder that life is finite. That awareness can create reflection instead of celebration. Treating the day as normal can be grounding. It can reduce existential anxiety. It can transform a symbolic milestone into something stable and predictable. Underneath the calm exterior, there may still be feelings. But they are contained, managed, controlled. Sometimes, neutrality feels safer than joy. Not everyone who treats their birthday like a normal day is hurting. Some people genuinely prefer simplicity. But for those who feel a quiet heaviness, there is an opportunity for gentle reflection. The goal is not to force excitement. Emotional intelligence does not demand dramatic change. It invites curiosity. Instead of asking, "Why am I like this?" ask, "What does this day represent to me?" If birthdays trigger pressure, perhaps the deeper issue is self-comparison. If they trigger discomfort with attention, perhaps the deeper issue is visibility. If they trigger sadness, perhaps there is unprocessed grief. Healing begins when the day becomes personal instead of performative. A birthday does not have to be loud to be meaningful. It can be a private ritual, a long walk, a letter to yourself, a review of growth that no one else sees. It can be gratitude for survival rather than a checklist of achievements. For those who learn to minimize themselves, allowing even a small moment of acknowledgement can be powerful. It does not have to involve a party. It can simply be a quiet recognition. I am still here. I have endured. I have grown in ways that are not visible. When a person feels safe internally, celebration no longer feels threatening. Attention does not feel like evaluation. It feels like connection. Some people treat their birthday like a normal day because that is what feels regulated and stable. And there is nothing inherently wrong with that. Emotional maturity means honoring your authentic response. But if neutrality is covering hidden disappointment or old wounds, then the birthday can become something new. Not a performance, not a comparison, not an audit, just a gentle acknowledgement of existence. Because at its core, a birthday is not about how loudly you celebrate. It is about whether you allow yourself to feel worthy of being here. And sometimes, learning to feel worthy is the real celebration.